The new CEO of Open the Books, John Hart, is with us. John, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Grant. It's great to be on.
All right, so you still stand by that? You think it's probably true? Spouses own federal properties being leased back to the federal government?
Yeah, Grant, look, there's been all kinds of inside dealing in Congress for decades. You've had members use their positions to earmark actually federal money to property that they own. And that we documented that over 20 years ago when I worked for then Representative and then later Senator Tom Coburn. So it's a pretty well-known established fact that members have engaged in this self-dealing using taxpayer money to direct money to entities that they own. So there's so much grotesque corruption. And one of the interesting things about this hearing that we're able to focus on is one of the symptoms of the massive growth of the administrative state is the high cost of decorating and redecorating all of these agencies and buildings, many of which we don't need. So we found that over the past 5 years, we've spent $4.6 billion just on furniture. Now, this is literally a kitchen table issue for taxpayers. Everyone in America can relate to the cost of furniture. So for that amount, that $4.6 billion, you could provide 9.2 million American families with a modest $500 kitchen table. So people feel this cost. They understand the scope of the problem. And when the federal government is spending $230,000 on solar-powered picnic tables at the CDC during the COVID emergency, by the way, those picnic tables violated the CDC's own social distancing guidelines. You have, the State Department spending $120,000 on recliners in embassies overseas. You've got conference rooms at the SEC that cost $700,000 to upgrade, $38,000 for a conference table with the Nancy Pelosi building in San Francisco. So
real quick, while we're looking at those recliners, those are Ethan Allen recliners. They're not like they went to the local rooms to go or whatever and got their recliners. Those are Ethan Allen. Ethan Allen is a very expensive brand. What is the federal government paying for that for? I saw in one of your things that they spent $700,000 on a conference room at the SEC.
Yeah, that's the SEC. Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, and look, a lot of these buildings, the issue that we also touched on in this hearing is the occupancy rate for federal buildings is way down, and it hasn't gone back up to the numbers it was before COVID. So according to some figures, it's between 6% occupancy. That's the lowest, I think, at USDA. And then 25% is probably the norm. But Grant, like in any private business, there's always room for companies can set their own, policies on remote work and different guidelines. But if you have the federal government, you can't have it both ways. You can't pay for an office to keep it open and then let people work from home and then spend taxpayer money redecorating the offices that no one's using. It's insane. And so taxpayers are incensed at just the gratuitous waste of money. And we need someone who got to get their arms wrapped around this to make some hard decisions. And thankfully, DOGE is doing the best they can with it.
Your testimony today. $1.4 million in artwork for the State Department, $370 billion needed in repairs for some of these buildings. Now, if we're only occupying 25% of the buildings, I would seem to reason that we only need 25% of the real estate that we have.
That's right.
That number to repair would drop by 3/4. Exactly. I mean, you start adding all this stuff up, this is real money.
Right, and the longer like think about your own property. Like if you own a house or a rental and it's in disrepair, you know that you're hurting yourself by not making a decision on it. You either need to spend the money to upgrade it so you can sell it, or you need to sell it as quick as you can because you're only going to be sinking cost into it. And that's what the federal government's doing all over the country with this massive amount of buildings that they have that either are not in use or they're in disrepair. But Grant, if you really, again, you back up and you think about the real issue, the reason we focus on this furniture problem, which is humorous in the best possible sense, is that it's a symptom of a big problem, which is that we've grown the administrative state, the federal agencies, way beyond what the founders intended. So we have 441 agencies according to the Federal Register. I think we ought to have about 4, the Department of Defense, State, Treasury, Justice, maybe throw in one more, the Department of Interstate Commerce, to catch all the other agency functions. and
maybe
massively downsize and improve the quality of services and shift money back to taxpayers.
That's what needs to be done. And look, the mission of Open the Books, exposing all this waste, fraud, and abuse is great. You mentioned Tom Coburn, man. He was the original Doge. And if you were working for him, that had to be pretty cool. So, John Hart, it's great having you on the program. Thank you. I always appreciate the work you guys do at Open the Books. It's eye-popping. It's maddening at the same time, but it's something everybody needs to know. So thank you.
Thank you, Grant. Appreciate the time.